Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One today. I'm Scott Seiler along with Jennifer Vandergom, Jennifer Diedrich with the news, and Adam Brace with the weather forecast.
It looks like it's going to cool down too, so it's an interesting one.
Yeah, good. Well, we have an excellent show coming up today. We'll talk about how to cope with the holiday blues around this holiday season, and also a demonstration on Taekwondo, plus a whole lot more, including the headline news, Jennifer, of the GATT vote.
Yes, the U.S. is now part of a World Trade Agreement as GATT recently passed in the Senate.
And Adam, what are we looking at specifically for weather this week?
Well, actually, we're going to experience cooler temperatures this week and maybe even a little bit of snowfall. I'll give you the details in just a minute.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Straight ahead today on Studio One, UND head coach Roger Thomas with his thoughts on playing North Alabama.
And later in our second half hour, Bennett Hendrickson from United Hospice on helping a friend or family member cope with the holidays after the loss of a loved one.
We'll have the full weather forecast and the sports in just a few minutes, but first, Jennifer Diedrich with the top news stories. Jennifer.
Thanks, Scott. Months of passionate debate of free trade, national sovereignty, and partisan politics all came to head in a lame duck Senate session. The result? U.S. entry into the 124-nation pact that aims to lower trade barriers worldwide. The GATT agreement was easily approved by the Senate Thursday. Opponents charge the treaty would bring in products made by child labor and cheap labor. Supporters say the treaty will spur exports and cut prices. It now awaits President Clinton's signature. One day after he was shot in a robbery attempt, rapper Tupac Shakur was convicted of sexual abuse. Thursday, a jury found Shakur and co-defendant guilty of sexually assaulting a woman in their hotel room last year, but they are acquitted of sodomy and weapons charges. The two men could get 7 years each in prison. For the person who has everything, a gift idea might be a new way to get organized. The Closet Company is a new business in Grand Forks which is selling a new idea. The company specializes in custom-made closets which help solve storage problems. The company helps people design their new closets. The result, a closet that meets their needs.
Organized. And most of the people say that their life just runs better after their closets are organized where they can find things.
Rose says custom design leads to organized lifestyles. She designs the closets and has 2 installers do the constructing. Rose allows her clients to be as versatile as they want with their closets, placing pegs in the shelving units. The Closet Company is based in Minnesota. Shopaholics might have an easier time avoiding shopping malls this Christmas. A drug is being researched to help compulsive shoppers. The drug fluvoxamine helps those who can't resist the urge to spend. Some psychiatrists say the antidepressant drugs such as Prozac and Zoloft also prove to help compulsive shoppers. Local pharmacists say the drug is not new. Fluvoxamine has been around since 1991, but is mostly used for major depression. The drug is now being investigated to treat compulsive shoppers. Beauty pageants have been a long-held tradition in the United States. Women compete with the best in their home state and sometimes their nation. Reporter Julie Conran met up with one woman who has been crowned to represent North Dakota.
Jana Stamo has won the title of Miss North Dakota USA. Miss North Dakota has been a dream of hers for the last 4 years. She has worked hard for this title, and many people would be surprised to find out just how hard. Jana started training in January for the Miss North Dakota pageant to be held in October. She changed her diet and worked out for 2 to 3 hours a day with a personal trainer. She attended workshops and hired a pageant director to guide her through the year. She even had her color analysis done. This is a test which tells her what colors the judges would like to see her wear on stage. She also had to catch up on her reading.
Keeping current, like I said, reading USA Today, the papers, watching the news, just keeping current, watching Rush Limbaugh.
Jana and the other contestants take the pageant very seriously and compare it to training for a sporting event.
You know, it's just one little thing you just do real quick weekend, and it's actually like a sport. You know, you take it very seriously if that's what you want to do. And I've tried. This was my 4th time, so it was I had set it for my goal. So. And I accomplished it, so now I'm going on to South Padre.
Some people may think that pageants are very glamorous or fun, but Jana reminds us that they include hard work and dedication. It takes more than just a pretty face to win a pageant. With photographer Kurt Doubt, I'm Julie Conran for Studio One News.
Jennifer, when is the pageant?
Well, the pageant's January 26th in South Padre Island, and I understand North Dakota usually does really well at the national competition.
Great. Well, we wish her luck, and now we'll hope that we have good luck in the weather forecast. Adam joins us to tell us what we can expect.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. After a week of warmer temperatures and little if any precipitation, it looks like things are going to take a turn for the worst. I'll give you the details, starting with those current conditions. It's cloudy in Grand Forks with a temperature of 28 degrees. The winds are calm at this hour, and the barometric pressure is on the rise. Temperatures around the region are generally in the 20s and 30s. It's currently 23 in Winnipeg, 21 in Sioux Falls, and 26 in Pierre. On the national radar, what we find is low pressure over the northwestern portion of the United States is plowing into states like Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, producing copious amounts of snow. Over the next 24 hours, they're expecting snowfall totals in the feet in these states. Over western North Dakota, also a little area of precipitation around the Williston-Minot area, not really amounting to anything too big. On the national radar, or on the national weather map, what we find is low pressure again out to the west, really building up and bringing that snow to the mountain states. Throughout much of the country, though, clear skies and pleasant temperatures rule the weather for today. On tomorrow's weather, though, we see this storm system moving in a little bit closer, possibly producing snow showers for western North Dakota, but it doesn't look like it's going to amount to anything too much here, at least not for the weekend, maybe into early next week. On today's temperatures, what we find is 30s across the northern tier of the states, 60s dominate the southern half of the United States. Tonight's lows in the 20s across much of our region. Your weather forecast for today looks to be cloudy with a temperature in the mid-30s, winds from the northeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, it'll be cloudy again with a low in the 20s and variable winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. The extended forecast shows us a cool down ahead with cloudy skies and temperatures cooling down into the 20s with lows in the negative single digits. So, Cotton Jennifer, it looks like warm coats and mittens may be the weather fashion for next week.
Well, thanks, Adam. We'll have to make sure that we bring out all the warm clothes then. And
I have 3 pairs of gloves I have on hand, each one for, and I alternate.
well, that's good.
Good news for the Minnesota Vikings fans, though. They are out of their slump. In sports, the Minnesota Vikings snap their 3-game losing streak and move into a tie for first place in the NFC Central at 8-5. It was a fantastic finish in the Metrodome. In overtime, the Vikings beat the Bears 33-27. Chicago had a chance for the win and a 2-game lead in the Central, but Kevin Butler missed a 40-yard field goal attempt that opened the door for Warren Moon. Moon hitting Chris Carter, and Carter, with his sheer talent and ability, goes 65 yards for the game-winning touchdown. Turning to the NBA, the Denver Nuggets got back on the winning track with an 89-80 win over the Mavericks. Denver built a 22-point lead in the third and held on for the win. And finally, in college basketball, number 11 Minnesota jumped out to a 22-point lead and coasted to a 92-56 rout of Central Connecticut State. Sean Leonard led the Gophers with 19 as they improved to 5-0 on the season. Those are the highlights. Local sports still ahead on Studio One, but now your first look at the rest of those overnight sports scores. The number 2 ranked UND women's basketball team is playing at home this weekend. They host the first ever Columbia Mall Classic basketball tournament in the Hislop Sports Center. The tournament features 3 non-conference teams from Alaska Fairbanks, Chadron State, and Minnesota Duluth. The tournament tip-off time is 6 o'clock Friday evening. For the second straight year, the UND football team will play in December. Memorial Stadium sits cold and empty now of fans, but the turf is seeing plenty of action this week as the home team prepares to hit the road. The Sioux football team has been fighting the cold all week in preparation of their NCAA Division II semifinal matchup. The next step in the Sioux's quest to be national champions takes them to Florence, Alabama, and an appointment with the defending national champs, the University of North Alabama. The Sioux will be looking for their strong defense to put the brakes on a speedy North Alabama offense that has averaged 33 points a game this season.
It'd be nice for, us, to go against a real good offense and, just to see how good we really are, as a defense. And I think we can pride ourselves on our performance against them.
A Sioux victory would advance them to the national championship for the first time in the school's 100 years of football history. Did you by chance catch the game last weekend?
Yes, I did. I stayed home and watched it where it was nice and warm. Everyone looked very cold in the stadium.
Yeah,
so.
and all eyes will be on the game again this Saturday,
Yeah,
too.
really exciting.
But we still have much more for you today on Studio One, including a one-on-one interview with Coach Roger Thomas.
But now a look at some of the events happening around your area this week. Stay with us as Studio One continues.
Insurance. Unfortunately, it costs. Fortunately, it pays. Voller Insurance. Grand Forks, Devil's Lake, Bismarck.
Check out Community National Bank. They're very caring people there. They're concerned about you as an individual and your money. I've never had to stand in line. I've always been greeted with a smile. I also then share with my students some of the things that they are doing there to make it easier. Well, I don't know about those other banks, but I know the Community National Bank treats me well and will treat you well too.
It's a place just for you, a holiday rendezvous, special gifts make memories. It's a magic place to meet. Christmas at Columbia Mall. It's a magical holiday rendezvous. Christmas at Columbia Mall.
Handpick your insurance company? As your agent and broker, that's our exact job. We think we do it well, and have been since 1947. Voller Insurance. Grand Forks, Devil's Lake, Bismarck.
The final score, North Dakota 14, North Dakota State 7. The Sioux win their 8th consecutive game, and for the second year in a row, they are going to the NCAA semifinals.
A very emotional UND head coach Roger Thomas, as staff and fans share his enthusiasm over beating the NDSU Bison. Security forces could not even hold back the excited UND fans who tore down the goalpost, breaking it into 2 pieces. Coach Thomas and the team will take on the defending national champions, the North Alabama Lions. Thomas gave us a one-on-one interview before taking off for Florence. You got the game tapes late from North Alabama. How has that affected your strategy in planning for this Saturday's game?
Well, these bags under my eyes are bigger than normal, and the rest of our staff too. They Monday night was a real long night because we got them about 9 o'clock, and everybody went back in the office and started working on it. So you tried to do on Monday night and during the day on Tuesday all the work that you would do to put together the scouting report that you would normally have done on Sunday and Monday and all of Tuesday. You try to do that on those 2 times. So it was tough, but you have to get that information ready for the players to practice correctly on Tuesday. It may have had a little effect. We didn't have a great practice Tuesday. Maybe just part of that is just not being as organized as we'd hoped to be.
Yeah, you've never played North Alabama before. How is that affecting your strategy, say, when you compare playing against the Bison?
Well, you have a feel for a team when you've played them before. You have old tapes. You have some things that worked and didn't work the first time around, some philosophies and the rest. And it's an interesting challenge to play a team you've never played before because you have a limited amount of information and you're working from there. It's kind of fun in a way. But there's something comfortable about playing a team that you've played before because there's some track record to go by. So they're a good team, and I think we've got some things we can do against them, but they're a powerful team.
Yeah. What do you think is going to be the biggest obstacle?
Well, I think just their team. I don't think the travel and the grass, a lot of people will talk about that as the things surrounding the game. But when it comes right down to it, we're probably playing as good a Division II football team as we've played since I've been here. They've won 25 games in a row against Division II opponents and a long winning streak at home on the field we're going to play on. And several All-Americans and so on. So just a talented team, and I think that's probably the biggest thing confronting us is just to beat them physically at the game.
The past 2 games, defense has been able to keep the opponent under 10 points. Will that happen again?
Well, if it does, we have a great chance to win the game. You know, the opponents that we've had over the last 3 games, going back to South Dakota State and then the 2 playoff games, a couple of them averaged over 30, and North Dakota State averaged in the upper 20s somewhere, and this team averages in the mid-30s as well. And man, our defense is, there it is, 3 weeks in a row, taking teams that score like that and hold them to 6 or 7 points. This, you know, we'd be hard-pressed to do that with this offense, I think, but we've done it to some other ones that have averaged 30. But we need to just hold them down and keep ourselves in the game and give ourselves a chance to win, because if you allow a team like that to go, you know, 25, 30 points, you really have a tough time beating anybody.
If you win this weekend, what will be your plans? Will you stay in Alabama and play down there?
No, we would come back. The guys would go to class for a few days and we'd practice, and then we'd probably go back down, I'd say, on Wednesday or Thursday. There are some banquets and some other events that the teams attend leading up to the game a week from Saturday, so we'd be involved in most all of that.
Has beating the Bison 2 times this year, you know, affected the confidence? Is that a factor in playing North Alabama?
I think so. I think the win that North Dakota State had against Pittsburgh State was a tremendous win. That they beat one of the best teams in the country says a lot for our league, and then we turn around and beat them. So you're playing in that upper echelon, the top 10 types of teams battling with each other, and I think our team's confidence is good. You know, we're back to the Final Four for the 2nd time. Same 4 teams, by the way, just different pairings. You know, we played IUP last year, and this year it's Alabama. So we're just happy to be back there, and I think our team belongs there, and I think they feel good about being there. We just got to go out and play that way.
Are you expecting a big crowd from the local area to head on down?
From here, yeah. I think we've got a plane that's full already, I think, and I know of others that are trying to make some other plans to go down, and there's some TV coverage and the rest, so it's that's all pretty exciting. There's been so many people that I think have been part of this thing, and I enjoy that part because, well, you know, when you beat the Bison, for example, the town celebrates, the campus celebrates, and it's really kind of fun. You have a lot of people along with you, and it really feels good as a coach and as a team to feel like everybody's pushing you along and cheering along with you.
What's one thing you keep saying to the team all week long?
Just prepare correctly. That's been part of our theme all year, that we keep our focus on our play. As I said, in trying to beat North Alabama, we've just got to play better football than they do. You know, not turn the ball over and do the right things at the X's and O's. And I think that's true for us in preparation. I think any player that practices well, knows what he's doing, knows what he's up against, and feels like he can go out and perform to the best of his ability, then we've had a good week. And that's part of our job, is to get the guys to prepare correctly so that confidence is there Saturday when they actually run out on the field.
If there's one item on your Christmas wish list that could come early, what would it be?
Well, early, I don't know. I take a national championship anytime. I think that's the thing over the next week and a half. That's obviously in the back of everybody's mind. But the obvious thing would be to have a nice, organized, safe trip for everybody to go down there and win this game, knowing you're playing the top-ranked team, and put yourself into the championship game. That would be my early wish, and then my later one would be next Saturday.
Game time is set at 1 o'clock. Still to come in Studio One, we'll give you a look at one of UND's biggest football fans. But first, a new and possibly easier alternative to print with your laptop computer.
Great food can come from anyone, as long as the shredded natural cheese comes from Sargento of Wisconsin.
I was looking for a car for 3 months, and the folks at Honda Nissan knew I did TV commercials. And so they asked me for suggestions, and all I could tell them was how great I was treated at Honda Nissan. And the next thing you know, here I am. When I went to Honda Nissan, I was treated with such respect. And I really couldn't believe the quality and selection that I found there. People always tell me that you get what you pay for. But at Honda Nissan, you really do get what you pay for.
Newman Outdoor Advertising, a sight for more eyes. Outdoor advertising, it's bigger than life. It gives you flexibility. Use it as a constant reminder. Use it to advertise your message or product. Outdoor advertising, it's big, it's bold. Get your message across. Outdoor advertising, it works. For more information, call Bill Kasager in Fargo or Grand Forks.
As we enter the information age, computers are becoming more compact and more versatile. A number of notable figures are taking advantage of the new technology available. Studio One's David Peterson looks at the latest in laptop computers.
It seems like everyone is carrying notebook computers these days, including attorney F. Lee Bailey. But take a closer look. This one is different. This laptop computer called the Canon NoteJet is the only one with a printer built right in it.
It turns out a very high quality. It looks like laser. We can plug into the court reporter and see the transcript being made, Q&A, as it happens. And then, if a witness becomes recalcitrant and says, I didn't say that, we can print out his testimony in a matter of seconds and show it to him.
For many of today's mobile professionals, notebook computers are invaluable, and luckily, prices are plummeting. More than 5 million were being used in 1993. By the end of 1995, that number will jump to nearly 10 million. And by 1997, it is estimated nearly 15 million of us will be using notebook computers. But finding a place to print on the road is another story. That's something DataQuest, a company which monitors the high-tech industry, has been tracking.
In a recent study we did, we found that of people who had used a mobile computer in the previous 6 months, 56% had the need to print while using that device, and only 13% of those people had access to a portable printer. That's easily a recipe for frustration.
William F. Buckley Jr. doesn't have that problem, even when his office is on the water, aboard his boat.
Well, I'm a writer, and I got regular journalistic duties, plus I'm never separated from a keyboard for any length of time. And so during the time that I do any work at all, it's with my beloved NoteJet on my boat, for the obvious reason. I can print out anything that I poke down, so it's just ideal. The kind of utility that this gives you is priceless.
Author and technology guru Dr. Timothy Leary often needs to print out on the road as he races between lectures and meetings.
Bring on a plane, go to your hotel room, you can receive and print out graphics faxed into you. First time I saw the printout of the Canon NoteJet, I couldn't believe it. It's the clarity, and you can just, there it is on your machine.
While the popularity of the NoteJet seems to be spreading, Grand Forks area consumers have yet to catch on the wave. The local Canon dealer in Grand Forks doesn't have the NoteJet in stock because the demand for them just isn't there. Dale Vetter is director of UND's Computer Center and owner of an IBM laptop without a built-in printer. Because he has access to a printer at work, he feels satisfied with the performance of his basic laptop.
I don't feel the need to have a printer with me, though. I have a feeling, and I'm not sure if it's true, I have a feeling that you're adding weight and complexity with the machine that you've got out on the road, and I just soon have it as simple as possible, and it works for me.
Vetter says the NoteJet with the printer would be a valuable tool for lawyers like Bailey who need documents at a moment's notice. For the most part, it comes down to a matter of choice for the consumer. David Peterson, Studio One.
The cost of the new NoteJets ranges from $3,300 to $3,700. We'll be back with more on Studio One, including Mark Kauk, who is training his way to the National Special Olympics competition.
I found the perfect girl and knew she deserved the perfect diamond. So we went to Wayne Davis Jewelers, where we chose a quality diamond and a ring that she loved. They helped us decide from a wide range of diamonds that fit our price range perfectly. We were able to see how important the cutting is to the beauty of the diamonds. The friendly and helpful staff at Wayne Davis made our important decision a perfect experience.
Wayne Davis Jewelers, a professional, locally owned store, Columbia Mall, Grand Forks.
Hi!
Hey, were you guys born in a house? Yeah. What have we got to graze on? Nothing. Please? Now, don't be making those big cow eyes at... okay.
It is okay if you give them the good stuff. Mootown Snackers, cheese and sticks, or cheese and pretzels. The deliciously dippable snacks.
Animals.
From Mootown Snackers.
Prices are low at Subway, but I'd rather focus on sandwiches. Our 6-inch meatball sub features meatballs in sauce on bread I just baked, all for a low economical price. I won't say how low, but you'll probably find enough in the cushions of your couch.
For nearly 30 years, Subway has made some of the best sandwiches anywhere, like the 6-inch meatball sub, only $1.69 at Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Remember, party, office gathering, or anytime, let Subway custom build a delicious party sub or party platter for you.
Special Olympics has been providing a sports outlet for its athletes for more than 20 years. For one Special Olympian, the UND football program also provides those opportunities. Studio One's Josh Morton shows us one of North Dakota's biggest sports fans.
Saturday afternoons at UND's Memorial Stadium are filled with excitement. But for one member of the football program, Sioux football provides more than just a game. Mark Kauk could be called the Sioux's biggest fan.
He started coming around to practice and has been a big supporter of the team and obviously plays an important part in the day-to-day operation of a football program.
Not only does Kauk provide support for UND's sports teams, but he also enjoys success himself as an athlete through Special Olympics. Mark is one of 3 Grand Forks athletes going to the World Special Olympic Games in July, where he'll be competing in track and field. Grand Forks Special Olympic Director Kathy Maher sees the Special Olympics experience as just that, special.
What we're really all about is giving people an opportunity to participate in lifetime activities or in life itself.
Maher says Mark's role with the Sioux goes hand in hand with his own athletic career.
Through association with the UND sports teams, Mark can learn the etiquette of different sports, the courtesies, the team sportsmanship, those types of things that you only learn through experience.
Sioux linebacker Tim Tibesar agrees.
Because he's there a lot and he kind of learns a little bit about the commitment it takes to be in athletics and how much time and effort you have to put into it.
Mark is preparing for the games with a conditioning program to get him in shape. But Kauk is by no means a one-sport athlete.
Well, Mark has been involved in Special Olympics and track and field. He's been involved with soccer. He's one of our bowlers. He's one of our speed skaters. And you talk to Mark and he'll tell you he skates really fast.
Kauk is enjoying the time he spends with the Sioux and knows what he has to do for the team on game days.
So football players tell me to get the crowd going.
Sioux fans have come to expect to see Mark cheering on the team.
Come on, Horse. Come on, Hamlin. Come on, buddy. Let's go, Hamlin.
Waleski sees the Sioux players getting a lot out of having Mark around.
Friends, we have players from all different backgrounds, different sizes of schools, different sizes of communities. I think it breaks down a lot of barriers that people may have held in their minds about Mark's special abilities.
His role also goes far beyond what happens on the football field.
You ask any guy in that locker room over there, he's a big part of it. There's a chemistry that goes on behind the closed doors that people aren't aware of, and he's a big part of that.
Although Kauk admits the best part about the World Games will be meeting all the different Olympians, he is also working hard to reach his main goal.
I want to kick some butt down there.
With photographer Lucy Sivka, I'm Josh Morton for Studio One.
The World Games are taking place in Connecticut in late June. Mark will most likely be competing in shot put at the Games, where he'll be joined by athletes from more than 40 countries. Remarkable effort that he's going to be doing down there.
Yeah, it's great.
But we still have much more for you on Studio One. Coming up, we'll talk about a Taekwondo black belt instructor, Aaron Fiscom, who will give us a demonstration on how to break boards.
Plus a look at the importance of learning to read in our society. That story plus much more straight ahead in our next half hour on Studio One.
You're exposed to so many
different ideas and projects. The engineering school here itself is set up so that the class size is reasonable and the professors are great.
Our equipment we use is up to date and very new and very accurate.
Part of the reason why I've gone into this program is because of the environmental aspects.
With about 12,000 students, UND is the largest university in the Dakotas, Montana, and western Minnesota. About 170 major fields provide education in careers that include engineering, law, medicine, aerospace, and business. Dedicated faculty, individual attention. Join us at the University of North Dakota.
It takes so little to save our rivers and oceans for future generations. If we use less toxic household cleaners, we protect a little. Fewer lawn care chemicals, a little more. And recycling used motor oil gains us so much. In fact, there are many things we can do in our everyday lives that can help stop water pollution forever. Clean water, if we all do a little, we can do a lot. Brought to you by the Natural Resources Defense Council and the Ad Councils of the U.S. and Japan.
Welcome back to our second half hour here in Studio One.
Will we have the opportunity to build a snowman this weekend, Adam?
Well, actually, we're going to have colder temperatures, so it's going to be a little bit hard to get that snow to stick. But if you have, a couple friends maybe help you out, you might be able to get the job done.
Yeah, last weekend was a different story.
Yeah, it was perfect last weekend.
Well, coming up just ahead on this final half hour of Studio One, Bennett Hendrickson from United Hospice will have some solutions on curing the holiday blues.
Also in this half hour, we'll talk with Aaron Fiscum. He'll show us how kicking and punching in Taekwondo can be healthy for us.
But before we talk with our guests, let's get to our news update from Jennifer Dietrich. Jennifer.
Thanks, Scott. Philippine President Fidel Ramos is ordering investigation in a deadly accident in Manila Bay. A ferry loaded with people collided with a freighter and sank. At least 17 people, most of them children, are dead. 74 people are missing. The ferry was carrying about 550 people when it went down. Survivors say there was little time to react and many people were sunk down with the ship. U.S. federal officials say the country has made significant progress in reducing drunken driving deaths in the past decade. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says 17,461 people were killed in traffic accidents last year. That's a 31% decrease since 1992. The CDC attributes the drop in tougher law enforcement and greater public awareness. Tropical paradise may be closer than you think. An organization called Northern Attitudes Parrot Head Club can be found in Grand Forks. It's a nonprofit fan club for the singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett. The club was started last March. It is the 32nd club of 52 nationwide. Buffett has a large following worldwide, and die-hard fans call themselves Parrot Heads.
A parrot head is anyone that appreciates the tropical atmosphere created by Jimmy's songs and writings. And that really says it all.
The club is more than partying and meeting with members. Shea's Club has held a benefit day for the Humane Society and donated to the Heart Walk Foundation. The club consists of 90 people so far, but as Buffett's popularity grows, so will the club. Those bad kids riding the school bus. Students taking the bus in the Williston School District are being watched. School board members there have decided to buy 3 surveillance cameras for the school buses. The cameras will record and help keep watch of incidents the drivers might not notice. Each installed camera will cost almost $1,000. District members hope the spy cameras for the bad riders will pay off in the long run. Imagine an airplane making a nosedive towards the ground. Most people would be shocked to see this happen, but one pilot hopes to make his living falling from the sky.
I guess I'd call myself an airshow pilot. I've been working at it for about the last 2.5 years. It's an exciting sport. There really is never any boring situations because you're always trying to push it and get a little bit better.
I guess I'd say the closest thing would be an overly exaggerated roller coaster ride. Can really be real hard on the body. The negative G's are quite a bit more dangerous. If you push too hard and you don't relax, you can burst blood vessels in your brain. Everything that I do is a combination of with the stick going back and forth like this, side to side, and then with the rudder pedals going back and forth. I'm mostly paying attention to these two instruments here and my sequence card to make sure I'm in the right spot where I'm supposed to be. I haven't been on a fair ride in quite a while because it just doesn't do it anymore. Hopefully next year I'll be on the U.S. aerobatic team, and that's my next goal is to make the team.
Higginson's plane uses a more powerful engine to help make the tricky maneuvers. More people are riding their bikes year-round despite winter weather. This is due to the versatility of mountain bikes. Cyclists can purchase tire chains for about $50 a pair. Others make their own traction by pounding screws into old tires and sealing them inside with tape. Other winter tips include lowering tire pressure, staying off the rear brake, and using a water-resistant lubricant on moving parts.
In most cases, when I've been riding, people realize, hey, this guy is on a bike. They give you a little more room than they do in the summertime, definitely, and they're a little more cautious.
White rides his bike year-round and has never had an accident with a motorist. Layered clothing is essential when biking for fun or to work, but jackets should be vented to allow for perspiration. UND police advise adding more reflectors for the short winter days. Now for the bikers that already have their bikes winterized, you could participate possibly in a bike race in Fargo. It's during the month of February.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jennifer. People read thousands of words every day on road signs, labels, and bulletin boards. Now, although reading is an important part of everyday life, reporter Jennifer Dietrich tells us how some people are still developing their skills.
Alan Carter works hard at his job. He cleans the airplanes at the Center of Aerospace Science for students taking flight classes. But Carter has to concentrate more than other workers and spends additional time on certain tasks. Filling out paperwork is tedious because he is still learning how to read. Carter uses a list to copy the words that are difficult for him to spell. He dropped out of school in junior high and reads at a second grade level.
I was in 9th grade, kind of jumped right through that. Didn't graduate, just kind of threw you through it. I was more interested in working on hot rods and having a good time.
Carter was tired of struggling with writing, so he decided to get help. Now, once a week, he studies with a tutor to improve his writing. PAL is a program for adults who have trouble reading. Carter meets at the library weekly and works at home writing sentences and short stories.
So it'd be A, ape, cape, cob, Cape Cob.
Many programs like PAL exist throughout the nation to help the functionally illiterate. 6% of people living in the United States have less than an 8th grade education. About 20% of adults have trouble reading a newspaper, and 10% of Americans between the ages of 21 and 25 cannot read well enough to use a street map. Carter's tutor says people develop methods to avoid reading.
They're very sensitive to different people, so they can walk into a room and understand where the exits are, even though they can't read it or know. Or they'll wait and watch and see what happens so that they know how to do it.
Well, I did avoid all reading as much as possible. If I wanted to learn something, I'd go talk to somebody. And that's how I learned how to be a mechanic and stuff like that. I just learned it, just did it.
Carter is not alone with his reading problem. Approximately 1% of the nation is illiterate, and a library can be intimidating. But new programs are being developed to prevent problems at an early age.
Took the whole class to the Museum of Natural History.
When students need extra help with their reading at Ben Franklin Elementary School, they are sent to Susan Fire. She is a Riley teacher who specializes in teaching young people how to read. Fire says that students who don't receive individual attention might finish school without learning to read.
The literacy approach that we're doing now with pulling text apart and pulling the kids and saying, you know, let's talk about this, let's make sure that there's some understanding. If you're only basing your instruction on test results, then you lose children.
Children read in groups and then discuss the stories to make sure they understand what is being read. When a student reaches a difficult word,
I sat next to Mary.
The reader first tries to sound it out,
Dagan.
or the group can help. Carter never met with a special reading teacher when he was young, but he is pleased with his progress.
Things are getting easier. I'm not afraid to pick something up and try and read it, where before I'd just take it and walk away from it.
Someday he hopes to find a different job. He says maybe after he gets his high school diploma.
And Jennifer joins us now to give us some more information about this specific topic. First question, how do you recognize that a child does have a reading, needs to learn how to read?
Well, some of the signs, if they have a small vocabulary or if they avoid any situations that involve reading.
Is it ever too late to learn to read?
Well, that's what's unique about PAL is that it's for any ages and for any level of reading. It's a unique program, and you're never too old to learn how to read.
So children as well as adults can take part
That's
in
right.
this. Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Up next in Studio One, Jennifer Vandergaan will talk with Bennett Henriksen from United Hospice and coping with the holidays.
Graduation, college, it seems so far away. But with increasing costs of education, it's more important now than ever to get started early. I'm Tom Chider of the Investment Center, located at Community National Bank. I encourage you to come in. Together we'll set a goal that's comfortable for you. Because as a father myself, I know you want those dreams to come true when that special day arrives.
It's a place just for you, a holiday rendezvous. Special gifts make memories. It's a magic place to meet. Christmas at Columbia, Christmas at Columbia Mall. It's a magical holiday rendezvous. Christmas at Columbia Mall.
I was looking for a car for 3 months, and the folks at Honda Nissan knew I did TV commercials. And so they asked me for suggestions, and all I could tell them was how great I was treated at Honda Nissan. And the next thing you know, here I am. When I went to Honda Nissan, I was treated with such respect. And I really couldn't believe the quality and selection that I found there. People always tell me that you get what you pay for, but at Honda Nissan, you really do get what you pay for.
Traditionally, the holidays are expected to be a cheerful time of the year. However, for some people, the holidays can be difficult to deal with, especially if you've suffered the loss of a loved one. Bennett Henriksen is a chaplain at United Hospice in Grand Forks, and today he's here to tell us how to cope with the holiday blues. Thanks for joining us today. How can you tell if someone that you know, a friend of yours, a family member, is dealing with depression?
Most likely it'd be some significant change in their behavior, less talkative, maybe more talkative with real young people, eating more or less, change in sleeping patterns. If you notice that in someone that you have a lot of time with, just ask them what's going on. And if it's been a loss, you may be aware that there's been a death.
What other kinds of things can bring on this kind of depression in people?
Lots of things can bring on depression. It's medical illness, and that can come on without warning, or it can come on because of other related situations. Absence of loved ones might make people feel lonely, so they get down in the dumps.
So what do you do if you talk to your friend and you say, I think something's wrong, what's going on, and they say, nothing, I'm fine, I don't need any help. What happens then?
Well, you may need to respect that. On the other hand, if you know them well, and you know that mom died last February, you can say, I know your mom died last February, and this likely is a hard time. Do you want to talk about it? And then it's their ball. Then they make a choice about what they do.
But if they decide not to talk about it, then you need to respect that.
You respect that, yep.
Okay. You have a number of tips on how to make the holidays easier for people who are coping with a loss. Can you talk a little bit about how we can use these key words to make things easier?
Sure. I mentioned respect. Just respect for yourself and respect for the other person. If you're aware that somebody has experienced a loss, then you have some sensitivity to that, respect for what might happen in their life or how they might behave, and respect for yourself. If you've experienced a loss, there's a respect for yourself, and that you say some things to yourself, that it's okay that I have my feelings, It's okay that I make choices. Those are the next two items.
Right, choices and
Choices and planning. We know the holidays are going to come. We know that the reality is that our loved one is not going to be around. So we make some plans about that. What will I do this year? Will I do it the same as we've done it other years in my family? Will I do it differently? We just had Thanksgiving. Who was going to carve the turkey? If that person has died, then what do? Family needs to make some choices and planning. Am I going to be with the same people as usual or different people? And then my feelings. Feelings bounce around a lot when we come to the holidays. There's expectation that we're supposed to be this bubbly, joyful time, and maybe I'm feeling down in the pits, and so I can respect that down in the dump feelings. On the other hand, it may be best to say, I'm going to take this time to remember my loved one, give my time alone, or to remember them in some way, talk with a friend about them so I can have my downtime. And then when the more festive occasions come, I can feel okay about me kind of being a little more up in things.
You talked about planning.
Mm-hmm.
What kinds of changes can you make, or what kinds of things should you think about when you're making plans for the holidays?
Planning for the holidays. Christmas is coming up. We're in the middle of Hanukkah here. Look at what you've done before in your pattern of life and say, do I want to do that again this year, or do I need to do it differently? And the change comes because you know somebody important to me has died and they're no longer with me. So the pattern will be changed. Now, how do I want to respond? Maybe I know it's best for me to be with my family, and so I make those plans. Maybe I think, no, that's going to be real hard, so I'm not going to have very much of a Christmas this year. And either choice is okay. It's what you decide is helpful for you. And planning Christmas events, you can decide I'm going to do just 2 this year, or I'm going to do a zillion, whatever is helpful for you.
Now, a lot of people in the military, students, that kind of thing, are away from their families during the holidays. How can you help people that you know are going through a separation like that during the holidays?
Include people. If you have an event and you know someone who's not near the typical support systems, invite them to participate in your event, your party, your shopping excursion, your sledding event, whatever it might be, your big festive meal. Include them in, and then respect the choices they make.
Now, is there such a thing as trying to help too much or doing too much for a person?
There's the possibility of doing too much myself or doing too much for someone else. One way of coping with my sadness is to get so busy I don't have to think about it. Well, eventually you fall down in a heap, and that's not healthy for us. On the other hand, to respect that other person, to invite them, but let them make the decisions and don't say, well, you know, you really ought to give the old guilt trip kind of a thing on somebody that doesn't always respond positively. Respect their right to be alone if they choose to be so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Up next on Studio One, Taekwondo black belt Aaron Fiscum will show us a few powerful kicks and punches.
Hey, what are we locking horns over now? Bossy, bump steer. Be nice, or no snacks.
I love your nose ring. Is it new?
Be nice and give them the good stuff. Motown Snackers, cheese and sticks, or cheese and pretzels. The deliciously dippable snacks.
Cool, cowlick.
From Motown Snackers.
I found the perfect girl and knew she deserved the perfect diamond. So we went to Wayne Davis Jewelers, where we chose a quality diamond and a ring that she loved. They helped us decide from a wide range of diamonds that fit our price range perfectly. We were able to see how important the cutting is to the beauty of the diamonds. The friendly and helpful staff at Wayne Davis made our important decision a perfect experience.
Wayne Davis Jewelers, a professional, locally owned store, Columbia Mall, Grand Forks.
Newman Outdoor Advertising, a sight for more eyes. Outdoor advertising, it's bigger than life. It gives you flexibility. Use it as a constant reminder. Use it to advertise your message or product. Outdoor advertising, it's big, it's bold. Get your message across. Outdoor advertising, it works. For more information, call Bill Kasager in Fargo or Grand Forks.
There are a number of sports activities to be involved in with these days, but winter approaching, there is one sport which is catching the eyes of all age groups, Taekwondo. Aaron Fiscum has a black belt in Taekwondo and teaches at North American Taekwondo here in Grand Forks. Aaron, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
What is the difference between Taekwondo and karate?
Karate originates in Japan, where Taekwondo originates in Korea. Some of the main differences in technique with kicking is Taekwondo has a lot more of aerial kicks, where karate is mostly solid based on the ground, very stable.
Now you have your black belt. For someone who's just starting out, how long does it take to get up to that level?
It depends on the person, how hard they're willing to work, how determined they are. For me, it took about 4.5 years. So.
And is that about the average time?
About the average time, you bet.
Okay. Everybody here in the studio is anxious to get to you demonstrating everything.
Okay.
And your sparring partner, Ryan Herbeck, is going to come in with the mitts. Tell us what exactly you're doing, you know, step by step with each individual kick.
Okay.
Why don't you just come in just a little more, right like that.
All right, the first kick I will demonstrate today is the front kick, okay? And this can be executed to the groin area, the stomach area, and the face, okay? I'm going to demonstrate to the stomach right now. Start in a fighting stance, or a T stance is what we call it. Bring the knee up, point it straight at your target, and extend with the foot, striking the target, setting back down. Nice and easy, very balanced. Okay? Second basic kick you would learn in Taekwondo would be the roundhouse kick. This is also in a T stance. This is bringing the knee up, pointing it directly at the target. Again, just like the front kick, but here there's a variation. You twist the hips and pointing the heel that you're standing on toward the target and snapping out like this, setting back down. Like this. The third basic kick you would learn would be the side kick. Now this is different from the front kick in the roundhouse. When you start out, you bring the knee across the body, okay? Same motion when twisting, pointing this heel at the target and extending out. Like that. And that can be executed to the knees, the face, chest, stomach, in that area, body area right there.
Okay. How long does it take to master these type of kicks?
Like I said again, it's how much time you're willing to put into it. It does take a while though, a good 3 years.
Do you have to be, you know, especially limber to get, because you kick your leg way up high?
Flexibility is a matter, and you have to be flexible. Stretching over time helps that.
And that is a key factor.
You bet.
Ryan's going to get the boards, and you're going to demonstrate some more kicking on how to break the boards.
Right.
Now, do you have to be, you know, have a real mental focus when you're doing this?
Focus, yes, very much so.
And how do you do that?
Focusing on the board, looking at the board, striking the board, thinking about going through the board, okay? Not just tapping it, kicking straight through the board.
Okay. Just give us a couple more kicks and demonstrate with all these boards.
Okay. I'll do the first basic kick. I showed you the front kick. Okay.
Does that hurt?
No, it doesn't. Not if it's executed correctly. Okay. You have to peel back the toes to make sure that you don't slam them into the board and break them. Okay. Same thing with the roundhouse.
Which one is more difficult of those first two?
The roundhouse is more difficult by a long shot,
okay.
I think.
Now we have a third one.
And the side kick again. Just like that.
Does it hurt your toes? Have you ever gotten a broken toe, or has anyone, you know, that's been in Taekwondo done?
I have maybe stubbed a toe once. That's about as much as I can remember. I've never broken anything. But as long as you've executed and practiced everything correctly, you'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. What seems to be the toughest part of learning Taekwondo?
Being focused. The mental training, the physical training also. Very intense.
Mm-hmm. You know, we see a lot of movies about the martial arts, and people always ask, you know, what about the yell? Do you have to do the yell or not?
The yell helps you focus and gives you more power in your kicking, your striking, whatever you are, or whatever it may be, whatever you're doing.
Yeah. What about the specific age groups? Can anyone start? Is it best if you start young, or can you come in as you're an adult and learn this also?
Oh yeah, you betcha. Any age. I'd say start possibly after 7 years of age.
After
the
7
best
years.
time.
You know, why after 7?
Because Taekwondo is a disciplinary art, a little more maturity helps. Even though that is a young age, it's the best time to start is 7 years old.
Mm-hmm. How does this help you physically? You know, a lot of people do aerobics and that sort of thing. Does this help you as far as physically as well as mentally?
Very much so, very much so.
And how does it do that?
It really tones the body. The intense working out burns a lot of fat. It's just like aerobics in that aspect, of course. And it's a great workout all the way around.
Okay. You know, Ryan Herbeck is here also. You're going to give us a little demonstration of sparring.
Yes.
So I'll let you two go ahead and do that right now.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
I'm getting out of the way. And we want to thank Ryan and Aaron for giving us this demonstration. You're watching Studio One. We'll be back after this.
The right combination of protection, value, response, and service. That's our philosophy, and it has been since 1947. Voller Insurance, Grand Forks, Devil's Lake, Bismarck.
Prices are low at Subway, but I'd rather focus on sandwiches. Our 6-inch meatball sub features meatballs in sauce on bread I just baked, all for a low economical price. I won't say how low, but you'll probably find enough in the cushions of your couch.
For nearly 30 years, Subway has made some of the best sandwiches anywhere, like the 6-inch meatball sub, only $1.69 at Subway, the place where fresh is the taste.
Remember, party, office gathering, or anytime, let Subway custom build a delicious party sub or party platter for you.
The insurance salesperson. They've never been the most popular people in town until you need them. Voller Insurance, Grand Forks, Devil's Lake, Bismarck.
We thought we'd get you in the holiday spirit this first week of December. Studio One's Lucy Sivka asked people if they could name all of Santa's reindeer. I'm going to start it off with the easiest one, Rudolph. Can the rest of you think of one?
Cupid.
Cupid.
Donner.
Donna.
Dancer.
Dancer. Well, those are just a couple of them. We'll let you know what everyone else thinks. This is Studio One for today. We'll see you next week.
Gosh, I think that's all I know.
Dasher Dancer, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. What is that?
Dancer, Prancer, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, Rudolph.
Dancer and Prancer and something and Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and Rudolph. There's one I'm missing. I cannot remember what it is.
Oh my God. Donner and Blitzen, Vixen, Rudolph. That's 4.
Well, first I have Dasher and Dancer and Prancer, and then Vixen, Comet, and I think Cupid is his name. Really don't remember him that much.
Of course there's Comet, Cupid, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Blitzen, and Rudolph. And I forgot the other ones.
Rudolph, and I think Donner and Blitzen are the last two.
I haven't a clue. I know there's Donner and Rudolph and Blitzen and Blitzer or something like that.
Vixen, Prancer, Dancer, Prancer, Dancer, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Vixen, and Rudolph.
Dopey and Bashful and Chumley and Smelly.
Dancer, Prancer,
What about the one with the funny red nose?